All right, today we're pulling back the curtain on something that affects every single one of us, but that most of us never see: the unseen sentinels of global health. We're talking about the high stakes systems designed to find and stop the next pandemic, hopefully before it even starts. So that's the million-dollar question, right? How do we actually do that? Well, the answer lies in a kind of global early warning system for infectious diseases, a massive network that's operating 24/7, mostly behind the scenes, all to keep us safe. And here's the fundamental problem we're all up against. Viruses and bacteria, they don't carry passports. They certainly don't stop for border control. What starts in one small village can easily hop on a plane and spread across continents in a matter of hours, which makes this a constant, ever-present threat. So what's our first line of defense in this fight? It all comes down to a crucial concept called public health surveillance. You can think of it as the eyes and ears of our global health security. Okay, so what does that actually mean? Well, the best way to picture it is as a global watchtower. This isn't just a one-time checkup. It's a continuous, methodical process of gathering information, trying to make sense of it all, and this is the important part, turning that knowledge into action to protect all of us. Now, what's really fascinating here is just how deep this work goes. Surveillance isn't just about sounding an alarm when something bad happens. It's about deeply understanding a disease, figuring out if the things we're doing to control it are actually working, and even spotting how tiny pathogens might be evolving. It's a full-circle intelligence system. But, how does this actually scale up from a local idea into a coordinated global strategy? I mean, how do you get over 190 different countries to work together against a common enemy? Well, that's where the International Health Regulations, or IHR 2005, come into play. Just think of it as the official rulebook for global health security. It's a legally binding agreement that commits countries to a shared set of procedures when a potential threat pops up. So, let's put you in the hot seat for a second. Imagine you're a public health official, and suddenly a weird cluster of illnesses appears in your district. What do? Well, the IHR gives you a decision-making tool, a clear, logical process that boils down to asking 4 critical questions to figure out the risk. First up, you have to evaluate how serious it is. Is this thing making people gravely ill? Is it spreading like wildfire? It's all about gauging the immediate danger. Next, you look for anything out of the ordinary. Is this a common disease that's just acting strangely, or is it something completely new? The unexpected is always a major red flag. Then you have to start thinking globally. Is this happening near an international airport or a major port? Could it easily just hop across a border? And finally, you have to consider the economic fallout. Is there a chance this could cause other countries to shut down travel or block trade with you? And here's the kicker. If you get a yes to just 2 of those 4 questions, your country is obligated to report it to the World Health Organization. This structured, really low-threshold trigger is designed to make sure that potential global threats get global attention, and fast. Okay, so we have this international rulebook, and it's actually spurred some really incredible innovation in how we track diseases. Let's look at a couple of real-world examples of this system in action. And this just shows you how specific modern surveillance can get. DanMop in Denmark is a fantastic example of what we call a One Health approach. It tracks antibiotic resistance all the way from the farm to our food to the pharmacy. Meanwhile, PulseNet in the US is like a detective agency, using genetic fingerprinting to link cases of food poisoning across the whole country, spotting big outbreaks that would otherwise just look like a bunch of random isolated incidents. So we have these really sophisticated systems, but how do we know if they're actually any good? Are they effective? Well, experts evaluate them against a set of key attributes to basically grade their performance. Think of this as the report card for a surveillance system. First, it has to be useful. It has to actually lead to action. It needs to be sensitive enough to catch most of the real cases, timely enough so we can respond quickly, and simple enough that people can actually operate it effectively, especially when things get chaotic in a crisis. Okay, so it sounds great on paper, right? We have the rules, we have the tools, but implementing this system across the entire globe is, well, it's far from simple. It faces some really significant real-world challenges. And it's funny because technology is both a solution and a source of new problems. While AI and all these new digital tools give us incredible power, they also create really complex challenges around data privacy and ethics that, frankly, we're only just beginning to figure out. This table really breaks down the core obstacles for us. You've got technical gaps and not enough resources, especially in lower income countries. But the most critical barrier is often political, that deep-seated fear that if you report an outbreak, you're going to face devastating economic consequences. And that creates a really dangerous disincentive for the exact kind of transparency the whole system relies on. Ultimately, it all comes back to this one fundamental principle. Without good data, gathered systematically and shared openly, we are completely flying blind. Surveillance really is the bedrock of every single effective public health action we take. And that's why this isn't some set it and forget it system. It's a living, breathing network that needs constant maintenance, constant investment, and above all else, it needs trust and cooperation between nations. Because at the end of the day, it's only as strong as its weakest link. And that leaves us with a final and pretty crucial question. We all agree that global health security is a shared responsibility. But are we, as a global community, truly prepared to make the sustained investment it requires to protect it? The system is only as strong as our collective commitment to it. Thanks for watching.